Alexandra Eala versus Julia Grabher, the first round matchup over in Linz for 2026. Both players have had different starts to their season so far.
It's great, to welcome Alexandra here in Linz in this special year, and it's also our first time.
With that experience on clay, I think might get her a set, but I think Eala's going to win in 3.
Nobody warned the tournament directors what was coming. Linz had hosted 35 years of WTA tennis, and they thought they had seen everything a big match could offer. Then April 7th arrived. Grabher stepped onto the indoor clay, her surface, her city, her crowd, ranked world number 89 and carrying a wild card into her home tournament. The stage was perfectly set for an Austrian upset. But across the net stood Eala, ranked number 46, carrying a 2025 clay season so underwhelming she hadn't even made it past the early rounds. Everything about the setup pointed in one direction, except what was about to unfold.
She has more confidence and she goes for her shots without any doubt, I would say.
This was definitely one of the bigger Filipino turnouts. New York was.
Then Alexandra Eala's stunning win over Julia Grabher flipped the entire script. The Filipino diaspora, watching across every time zone, felt it instantly. The internet lit up in real time. And when the raw viewership data came back from every platform tracking the match live, the numbers stopped people mid-sentence. A WTA 500 first-round match, not a Grand Slam final, not a headline event, had just produced figures never seen before in WTA history. It became the most-watched WTA match ever recorded. That's not hype. That's a documented fact, now sitting in official broadcast logs. Subscribe now. This channel runs forensic analysis, not headlines. The full point-by-point breakdown of how she won this match starts right after this.
19-year-old lefty Alex Eala from the Philippines could be the next big thing in pro tennis.
This is the goal.
My goal is to be able to integrate myself into the WTA circuit more and to be able to handle myself better on court.
Bolted into the spotlight last month after making the semifinals at one of the biggest pro tennis tournaments.
Linz is not a glamour tournament. Austria's third-largest city hosts a WTA 500 event inside the Design Center, a clean, functional arena that rarely makes international headlines. In its 35-year history on the WTA Tour, Linz had never produced a moment that stopped the tennis world mid-sentence. A manageable draw, a respectable prize pool of over €1 million, and a local crowd built around European tennis, that was the Linz formula. Then the draw came out, and the moment Alexandra Eala's name appeared next to Julia Grabher in the round of 32, Linz stopped being a quiet Austrian fixture. Grabher is not a soft first-round opponent. The Austrian, 29 years old and ranked world number 89 at the time, has enough experience to weaponize every structural advantage available. She entered with a wild card, the tournament's standard mechanism to place a home player directly into the draw, ensuring the crowd would be hers from the first point. Her resume backed it up. A 2022 WTA Challenger title in Bari, followed by her first WTA Tour final in 2023, also on clay, where she fell to Lucia Bronzetti. That same year, she peaked at world number 54 and secured her first Grand Slam singles win at Roland Garros. While her 2026 hardcourt form had been poor, arriving in Linz with a 3-8 record, the transition to clay was expected to reset her rhythm. She had just come off match play on the surface in Turkey, bringing with her timing, movement, and the muscle memory needed to slide and construct points effectively. When people frame Eala's win as expected or routine, they miss the reality. This was a difficult first-round draw, on a difficult surface, at a difficult moment in her season. Her 2025 clay campaign offered little encouragement. For tournaments, no runs beyond the early rounds. A round of 16 exit at the Oeiras Ladies Open, an early loss at the Madrid Open, and no indicators that a breakthrough was imminent. Everything about the conditions pointed one way until the match began.
This was a massive spot to be in for such a young talent, to have a sold-out crowd completely behind.
To do well on the WTA Tour. I'm super proud of what I was able to accomplish, but the end goal is to win Slam.
Her 2026 hardcourt season told the opposite story. Alexandra Eala climbed to a career-high ranking of world number 29 on March 16, 2026, backed by a quarterfinal run at the Dubai Tennis Championships and round of 16 finishes at both the Indian Wells Open and the Miami Open. In Miami, she played the longest match of her career, 3 hours and 20 minutes, against Laura Siegemund, winning in 3 sets. It was a performance that revealed a new level of mental endurance in her game. But that momentum stalled with a round of 16 loss to Karolina Muchova, and the ranking system responded with unforgiving precision. The points from her 2025 Miami campaign, where she made a historic semi-final run, including a win over Iga Swiatek, were no longer being defended. In a single rankings update on April 6, she dropped 16 places, falling from world number 29 to 46. This wasn't a player rising, it was a player absorbing the harsh mathematics of a system that punishes you for failing to replicate your best results. Compounding the challenge, she hadn't played on clay since the French Open the previous year. The Linz match marked her first appearance on the surface in 2026, no warm-up events, no adjustment period, no live match rhythm. Just a direct entry into a WTA 500 first round against a clay specialist, competing in front of a home crowd. Yet beyond the court, something bigger was building. With an estimated Filipino diaspora of over 10 million worldwide, including around 1.7 million in California alone, every match Eala played in 2026 became a global event. These communities showed up, physically in stadiums and digitally across every broadcast platform. At the Australian Open, her match was placed on a smaller court, leaving fans standing as demand exceeded capacity. In Dubai, every one of her matches sold out during her quarter-final run. At Indian Wells, hundreds of Filipino fans arrived in club shirts, waving flags, staying late into the cold desert night just to watch her compete. The BNP Paribas Open even released a Day in the Life feature on her that became the tournament's most viewed YouTube content of the year. And when Novak Djokovic was asked about the surge of Filipino support, he described it simply as a good problem for tennis.
Having too much crowd on this or any other tennis tournament is a very good.
Andy Roddick described her rise as exactly the kind of story the sport needs. Meanwhile, Coco Gauff, who defeated Eala in Dubai, openly acknowledged the overwhelming pro-Eala crowd support.
I know you were mostly supporting Alex, but I have to say it is great to be on a crowded court. I've played this tournament for many years, and to see the stadium full, it means a lot.
Now bring all of that into Linz, a smaller venue, a quieter European city, a first-round match scheduled on a Tuesday afternoon. The design center wasn't built for what walked through its doors. Linz had no framework for this level of global attention landing on a routine first-round slot, and the viewership infrastructure around a WTA 500 event was never designed to handle what those streams would record. The structure of this matchup created a perfect storm, one the WTA hadn't fully modeled. Grabher carried Austrian pride, home crowd energy, and a surface that suits her best. Eala arrived with the weight of an entire diaspora behind her, watching across multiple time zones. Two fan bases, culturally worlds apart, both emotionally invested in a single first-round result.
We're not concerned about anyone else right now. It's Alex Eala time. This is Alex Eala's moment. Our days, our dinners, our evenings are fixated on when she's playing. That's real tennis fandom right there. Love it.
This is so great for tennis in general.
Yeah.
I think having players like Alex out there, and she's so gracious to all her fans. She spends time with her fans, signs the autographs, takes the photos, and really just shows the Filipino community that it is all about the Philippines. And I still carry that flag with me no matter where I go across the world.
Grand Slam matches involving Chinese players in the early 2000s generated massive viewership driven largely by a single nation. WTA finals matches, on the other hand, draw from a broad global audience. But nothing had ever created the kind of convergence Linz delivered on April 7th. Two massive, culturally distinct audiences locked into a single WTA 500 first-round match at the same time. Every measurable trend from Alexandra Eala's 2026 season pointed toward something unusual. Dubai sold out. Indian Wells overflowed. The Australian Open ran out of space. Each moment was building toward a breaking point, and Linz is where it all converged. A first-round match, not a final, not a primetime showcase, producing viewership numbers never seen at that stage of a WTA event. That's what separates this result from anything else in her career so far. From a tennis perspective, the implications run deeper. Clay punishes players who rely on flat, aggressive ball striking without the movement patterns needed for longer rallies. Eala's game is built on pace and precision, two qualities that require adjustment on slower surfaces. The ball sits higher, points extend, and the physical toll increases. Her 2025 clay season showed she hadn't fully made that transition. But beating Julia Grabher, a clay specialist, at home, signals change. Her training block at the Rafael Nadal Academy before the clay swing now looks intentional. That environment is built specifically to develop movement and point construction on clay. This wasn't random preparation, it was targeted. The win opens the door to a potential third meeting